Greetings everyone! Welcome to our channel. I'm your host Homie from FantasyPie. We have just started working on YouTube. I'm making content for you. So
we would be honored if you would join us.
Yeah, so first off, I want to talk about DCEU a little bit. And there's a short review of the first Wonder Woman movie. And after that, I'm going to talk about Wonder Woman 84 spoiler free. After that, Prison and extended review. And then the Easter eggs of the movie are going to be on your screen. Please click on that 60 subscribe button and like the video if you did. But don't try to dislike the video, because you'll get a piece of pie in your face. So sit back and relax and enjoy the pie that Uncle Homie's been baking for you all day. Now that all that crap's out of the way, let's start talking about the movies we're reviewing today. So, to say I actually loved the first movie is a freaking lie, because I didn't. But I really liked it. Please don't call me a Marvel fanboy, because I'm not. I actually love both of these guys equally, both Marvel and DC. And no, I'm not saying the Marvel movies are freaking brilliant and the DC movies are blowing it right now, because they're not. They've found their way, kind of, after that terrible Abomination. Thank God we're getting the Snyder Cut, yay! But this direction that they've taken is just not ideal to me. You know, when I was watching this movie, I was thinking to myself, wow, we've come a long way after Man of Steel. What a roller coaster it's been in these 7 years. Literally nothing in this movie says, hey, I'm the same universe as Man of Steel and BVS, because it's not. If anything, it can literally take place in Marvel easily. I mean, just look at it. The color grading, the plot, the acting, the way they used to get emotions out of people, it's literally seamless. And I'm really not saying they're copying Marvel. Well, I kinda am. But bear with me for a minute. Maybe 2 or 3. I don't know. All I'm saying is that they've really changed their ways since BVS. And understandably. Because at the end of the day, it's the audience's money that speaks. And BVS kind of bombed at the box office, so I'm not blaming WB for doing this huge direction change. After all, they've shown us how caring they are for us DC fans. They're releasing the Snyder Cut, which is awesome, and
3 hours later.
I can't stop talking about this. Let's get to the freaking review, please. So, the first movie was okay to me. I actually really liked it. It was cute and fun. I had a really good time watching it. A really good, enjoyable superhero movie. It had some missteps, of course, but nonetheless, it was good. Definitely wasn't the 93% on Rotten Tomatoes greatest superhero movie we've got this decade. Kinda good, but it was good. You know, the good type of good. You know what I'm saying. Definitely better than the piece of shit we got a couple of years ago. I don't want that freaking movie erased out of this dimension along with all of its fanbase and creators. So, the first one was a little predictable. Bad effects in some shots and really cheesy acting in some scenes. But Gal is so likable and cute that you literally forgive the movie's missteps because of her. Yeah, so we might actually review the movie in more details in the future for you, but that's enough for now. Let's shoot the main pie in your face. Wonder Woman 2. The next one. I'll give you my overall thoughts on the movie first, and after that, I'll get into the spoiler section. For all you guys that haven't watched it yet, which is most of the planet, this one was actually better than the first movie. I'm really happy to say that because the first half of it wasn't implying this to me at all. It actually had a really boring first half, believe it or not. I was bored, angry, not giving a shit at all. But the minute the man, the myth, the legend, Din Djarin himself came on the screen, I was invested again. He literally was my favorite character in the whole movie. He was freaking awesome, to say the least. And his acting, man, his acting is getting better and better after every project he takes. And I can't say how happy I am for him. He actually is becoming one of my favorite actors working today. Not to spoil the movie for you, he kinda is nothing like it was in the comics. Now, I don't know Maxwell Lord that much in the comics, but from what I've learned, and trust me, I've done my homework pretty good, he is nothing like it was in the comics, other than his looks, but I loved him. He was the best part of the movie, for sure. Now let's get to Diana a little bit. She is pretty good. Gal Gadot. And yes, that's how it's spelled correctly.
Did I pronounce your name correctly?
I didn't hear the way you...
Gal Gadot.
Oh, you're good.
That's good?
The Gadot can be better.
Gadot.
More T at the end. Yeah.
Is great in the movie. Her acting is so much better than the first movie, BVS and Justice League combined. I won't spoil it for you in case you haven't seen it yet, but in one of the scenes, she was so good, I really forgot I was watching a movie, which is awesome. But man, she had some cheesy ass scenes as well, which is interesting in some weird way because it's kind of part of the ride, you know. The effects were much better than the first one, as well as the action, of course. We had a freaking truck flip. When is that gonna end? And there were a couple of CGI plasticky Wonder Woman on screen, but it was so fast you could only see it if you were watching really closely. And thank God they didn't show us the plastic women's faces, because it would have been Spider-Man 3 all over again. Yeah, so the action is pretty good overall and entertaining, especially the road scene, which you might have seen bits and pieces of in the trailers. Hand-to-hand combat is a little lacking, but not as much as the last movie. But there are some of those, that guy should have totally saw that kick and dodged it type of moments. It's good. Hand-to-hand combat is so much better than the last movie, we can say that. Let's talk about Steve a little bit. He is good in the movie, Chris Pine as Steve Trevor, I mean. But the way they bring him back, which is one of the huge spoilers, is a little weird. And, you know, there wasn't that many good reasons to bring him back, other than fan service, of course. Because the way his character arc ended in the last movie was pretty legit. After all, he was pretty fun in the movie. And they do have so many cute scenes. Steve and Diana, I mean.
That's just a trash can.
It's just a trash can. Yeah.
So, I'll take that. One thing to note, the lasso looks much better in this one in comparison to the first movie. It doesn't look CGI rendered, well, except one scene. My only gripe with it is that in this movie it seems to come back to her, like Cap's shield for some reason. But in the last movie, I'm pretty sure that wasn't the case. Don't know, maybe it's just me. So the movie had a really awesome emotional ending, which I freaking loved, and totally made me forget the mildly boring first 30 minutes. It had an awesome villain in Pedro Pascal, and a not so great one in Kristen Wiig, unfortunately, which we're going to talk about in just a bit. We don't have a rating system for now, so consider it like a 6 or 7 out of 10 or something. So to end the non-spoiler section review of the movie, I'm just gonna say that Kristen Wiig / Cheetah in this movie suffers from a certain villain syndrome, which I'm not gonna spoil because it's spoiler-ish. But that bugged me really bad. Although they did it better than a couple of other villains with this syndrome, nonetheless, it was kind of weak. And Cheetah herself, let's not talk about it right now. Yeah, so I want to thank everyone that was with us up until here. Wish you enjoyed our video. We try to be entertaining and fun all at the same time. We wish that we've accomplished it. So please subscribe and let our channel grow. Give us your thoughts on the movie and the video, but type spoiler alert before you say something spoilery about the movie. Give us a like as well, it'll help us grow, and give us a dislike if you want. Just don't forget the pie in the face thing for dislikes, man. And we're gonna go to the spoiler section, so you've been warned. And after that, we're gonna talk about the Easter eggs in the movie, so be with us if you don't care about the spoilers, and skip through the end if you do. So, to start the spoilers, we have a huge MacGuffin in the movie, which is the Dreamstone. And it's actually from the comics and not made up at all. Although it looks different in the comics, which I will point out in the Easter egg section at the end. So, it grants everyone a wish, and also it takes something from you in return. They find it at the place that Diana works, and she and Kristen find it in some random box in the office. Also, Kristen is great in the movie in case of acting, don't get me wrong, But her character, unfortunately, is suffering from the Riddler syndrome. So what's the Riddler syndrome, you ask? Well, it started from Jim Carrey's Riddler in Batman Forever, and we saw it again with MCU's Aldrich Killian in Iron Man 3, and the Electro in Amazing Spider-Man 2, which the villain is basically like,
"Hey, hero of the movie, I really freaking love you, and I'm obsessed with you so badly. Oh wait, you don't care about me as much as I do? You don't like me anymore? Well, I'm gonna kick that ass of yours pretty badly towards the end of the movie." So it's basically that thing all over again. They did it a little better than those two movies that I just mentioned, Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Iron Man 3, but the approach was as bad, if you ask me. And also Cheetah, yeah, she is like 2 minutes in the movie. And I'm really being generous here, because I'll bet it was even less than a minute.
Jesus, you don't even see her face for a straight minute. You literally have to pause the movie to be like, oh, so that's how she looks in her pretty bad CGI glory, I should say. I'm very shocked to see Cheetah parts or scenes wearing a massive makeup or prosthetics instead of CGI. I
don't know, maybe Kristen Wiig didn't want it this way, the massive makeup and prosthetics and all that shit.
Maybe it wasn't their intention to have her transformed in this movie. Maybe they were gonna just set her up, at the end of this and make her Cheetah in the next movie. But they thought fans might get angry, so they just shoved the transformation in the last minutes of the movie as a little fan service, I don't know. I was happy to see her transform, to be honest. I liked seeing Cheetah in this movie, but the execution of it didn't make me that much happy. Her revenge on the harasser dude and her change to a total jerk was done pretty good, actually. The part where she didn't want Max to get killed because her wish of, I want to be as sexy as Diana, wish that she was granted, was done pretty good, again. But the Cheetah part, man, it was a mess. That was weird. So all three of them, Max, Wonder Woman, and Barbara, get their wishes granted. We talked about Barbara's wish, so let's get to Diana's. To put it simply, hers was bringing Steve Trevor back to life, and she did get him back. And it's weird, because it's Steve's soul in another dude's body. But throughout the movie, we see Chris Pine's face beside Diana, because she's like, no matter how you look like on the outside, I see you like you were before. And we actually see the actual dude with his own soul having a cute chat with Diana at the end of the movie. The two most awesome scenes were Steve and Diana in the invisible jet with all the fireworks and stuff, and the goodbye scene. Man, was the realest part in the movie. It literally brought tears in my eyes. It was close, man. It was really close. Gal was freaking amazing in the scene, and she's actually becoming a really good actress after some time, I mean, she has always been good as Wonder Woman, but she's just becoming better and better. Right after that scene, we get to see Diana learning to fly, which wasn't as beautiful and real as much as the flying scene in Man of Steel, but I enjoyed it. Remember the part I said the lasso was really CG heavy and weird looking? It was this scene. While she is learning how to fly, she just uses the lasso here and then, and it was really CGI heavy. I mean, man, she was grappling the crap out of that lasso in that scene. And it was stretching for 50 meters, I think. Grabbing thunderstorms and shit with it. So Max, all of the things with Pedro was amazing. His acting, his looks, his emotional scenes, the way he absorbed the stone and became one with it. The monkey's paw thing towards the end, all of that. The way he bled when he granted one wish after another. All great stuff, man. His relationship with his son, I mean, it was great. Loved the way he became so evil towards the end. Oh, and another Riddler connection. The ending, he was getting all he wanted from people in exchange for granting their wish. It really reminded me of Riddler getting people's intelligence at the end of Forever. It was really cool that the three of them didn't know what wish the other one had made. Especially Barbara, because Diana was like, why don't you want Max to be taken down? Barbara would literally make up some bullshit reason because she didn't want Diana to know she had wished to be like her. I forgot to say, actually, Diana's powers were fading away as she went along in the movie. It was the exchange thing she unknowingly gave to the stone for granting her wish. And when she renounced her wish in the last scene she had with Steve Trevor, her wound started to heal, which was a neat little detail I liked. And the line she said that nothing good is born out of lies connects so well to her narration in the beginning. Oh, I didn't talk about the beginning. How boring it was. Okay. So, in the beginning, we see the little child actor who played Diana in the first film reprising her role and taking part in a decathlon with some other Amazons. So the prize is the golden armor from Kingdom Come novel, which we see in the trailers, and Robin Wright stops her from winning it. And yeah, she has a brief screen time as well. She tells Diana, because you cheated and took a shortcut, you shouldn't be winning. And she's like, if you couldn't catch me, I could have won the bubble or something. Which is funny, because later in the movie we see her having the costume in her house. So she won it finally, I guess. And last but not least, let's talk about the 80s theme. It's there. It's not shoved in your face every 5 minutes or so, and they're totally not like, hey, remember the 80s? Remember how fun it was? Remember this? Remember that? Remember this song? Remember. And thank God it's not like that. Actually, it missed so many opportunities of playing some 80s hit songs in some scenes or a movie reference to some degree. It did none of those. They made fun out of the clothes, which was really good, but no music or movie or TV show reference at all. Maybe some movie or TV show poster on some wall, like to that degree, you know. I don't think they even used one 80s song in the movie. That was a crime against all 80s lovers. The name is Wonder Woman 84, for God's sake. So yeah, it was good seeing the 80s, but the movie wouldn't be different at all if it was set in the 90s or 70s. So guys, let's go to the Easter egg section of the video. A photo of Diana next to a cute old lady, which actually was Etta Candy when I researched. You know, Diana's little chubby friend from the last movie and the comics. And after that, we see a photo of Diana on a ranch, which had the name Trevor on it. We see Steve's watch in great condition, I should say. Let's talk about Max and Alistair a little bit, his son. In the review, I said he is literally not like himself in the comics, and that's because he is a wealthy businessman responsible for the OMAC robots, basically, in the comics. Now, I found out that he actually does become something overpowered and godlike, but not exactly like that. In the comics, the most power he gained was telepathic mind reading. Here, it's much different, of course. And Alistair, the boy doesn't even exist in the comics at all. But the rather interesting thing is they have made Max himself into his father from the comics in the movie. Let me explain. In the comics, Max had a dad, which always said to him that one day he's gonna, make him proud and be the most powerful and rich father ever. But he fails when he learns that his company is producing chemical products that are killing people, which ultimately drives him to suicide. Alistair has the potential to become Max from the comics easily, because in BVS timeline, he is about like 40 or something years old. So it totally works if they're going to do that. Fun fact, Maxwell Lord was going to be one of the main villains in George Miller's canceled Justice League Mortal movie, and he was going to be played by the one and only Jay Baruchel. I've got another fact for you. You probably didn't know that Pedro Pascal actually played a character in the canceled pilot for a Wonder Woman show back in 2011. I don't exactly know what character because I haven't seen the pilot yet, but hey, he got a second chance to redeem himself, didn't he? So he literally got his wish granted to prove he is a worthy actor. Wish granted. That was a terrible pun, apologies. Simon Stack is a character from the comics who's the CEO of Stack Enterprises. He sometimes shows up as the villain against Metamorpho. Not a major hero, but has joined the Justice League a few times. Stack mostly shows up whenever illegal stuff are being done. Now, let's talk about the Dreamstone. The Dreamstone has been in the comics since the 60s. It's usually connected to Dr. Destiny, badass supervillain, or Dream, who is one of the 7 embodiments forming the Endless Family. Although in the comics, it's shaped very differently, and it's not yellow or mustardy. It's actually red, and looks very similar to the Mind Stone from the MCU. A little pointless fact for you right there. So I was really looking forward to see how they would do the Invisible Jet in the movies eventually, and they did a pretty awesome job on it. It's one of the most famous and pivotal parts of Diana's lore in the comics, and they did it in the best way possible. The only weird thing about it was how they showed Diana put Zeus' spell on it, unlike the comics, which is invisible from the first day. Since the comics release, whatever, has been a regular destination for characters that can be connected to it from any aspect. So in the explanation scene where Diana is talking about the Dreamstone's origins, the name Duke of Deception actually points to a character who exists in the comics, who has worked with evil gods like Ares. Another Easter egg is that in the comics, Lord has an interesting storyline featuring a computer that becomes sentient and evil. The computer is called Brother Eye, and it's created by Batman. In the storyline, Diana catches Lord, and with using her lasso of truth, she finds out that Lord has to be killed so that his evil plan can end. And well, she snaps his neck. But she finds out that this was Brother Eye's evil scheme all along, broadcasting Diana, who kills Lord, and showing everyone on the planet how evil she is. When the people of the world see it, they think that she's a ruthless murderer. So Brother Eye actually succeeds in turning the citizens of Earth against Wonder Woman in a matter of minutes. But that, of course, is not what happens in the movie. It's similar, but with a different outcome. Maxwell Lord and Wonder Woman confront each other for the final time, and people are watching a universal broadcast of Lord, very similar to the Brother Eye story. But unlike the comics, Wonder Woman cleverly uses that universal broadcast to spread a beautiful, hopeful message. She convinces people to renounce their wishes and clearly doesn't kill Lord. Speaking of that, the song playing during Diana and Max's final confrontation is Adagio in D minor, written and performed by John Murphy. The legendary Amazon Astrea doesn't exist in the comics, but in the movie, in the post-credit scenes, we see that Astrea is live. She's actually played by Linda Carter, who played Diana in the live-action Wonder Woman TV show back in the 70s. But a sharp eye would have caught that she was being played by her in the Golden Armor's flashback. It's funny to know they wanted to do this all the way back to the first movie, but they couldn't due to a timing issue. In the movie, the Golden Armor was Amazonian. It was first seen in one of my favorite Elseworld stories, Kingdom Come, back in the 90s. So last but not least, let's talk about Cheetah. Barbara's transformation into Cheetah has had a lot of versions in the comics, and the part where she isn't noticed by anyone and degrades herself is borrowed from Priscilla Rich, the first incarnation of Cheetah. But her job and archaeological learnings come directly from Barbara's own comic book origins. However, in the comics, becoming a cat person had nothing to do with the Maxwell Lord or the Dreamstone. Instead, it involved the curse by an ancient plant god that not only made her a werecat, but the goddess also gave her an appetite for eating human flesh. Again, I thank everyone who watched the video carefully and with patience. It took us a little long because we wanted to point out every single Easter egg in the movie, but we wish you the best. Please subscribe, give us your thumbs up, and let us know what you thought of the video. Thank you guys, and peace out.